Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can make a start on this, the finance and strategy meeting, Tuesday, the 26th of September, current time is 5:30. This meeting will be recorded and will be uploaded to the Bill of Town Council YouTube page. The aim is to decision making should be transparent and all the public domain, which will involve more of the community and local democracy. By being in the council chamber, you're consented to being recorded and your images will be added to the YouTube. The images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed by the speakers own are not necessarily reflected by the Bill of Town Council. Please view the guidance on recording and public meetings policy if you need more information. First thing on the agenda, apologies. We've got apologies from Councillor Smith, Councillor Salt and Councillor Wood.
Councillor Yates will probably be a bit late. He's just coming from one meeting to another.
Okay, thank you, Chief Officer.
And Councillor Brady's had an eye operation, I believe, today.
Okay.
Bless him.
Right.
It wasn't too serious.
No, sticking in the papers.
43, to confirm the minutes of the meeting and Finance Strategy Management Committee meeting held on the 25th of July 2023, approved by the Town Council meeting on the 12th of September. I've signed those. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
They have been passed in Town Council, they have.
The domestic, we asked for declaration.
Oh, sorry. Declarations of interest, sorry, my mistake. Declarations of interest, disclosure of pecuniary interest and any other interests.
As and when, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Member of the British,
Okay.
member of the British Legion.
Yes. Right. Sorry, I'll skip that. Right. Moving on, we've done 43, number 44. Accounts matters. 44A. With the bank reconciliation for June and July 2023, all accounts attached.
I think the helpful one is this one. You get two of these, one for June and one for July. If it's A equals B checks out okay, that's what we hope for at the end.
Does anybody have any comments or queries?
Chair, but I'd like to move it, please.
I'll sign it, yeah.
Yeah, all in favour? Yes, check.
Just a thought. And I don't want to praise a tremendous amount of work, but that bottom figure, if we had this at the same time last year, what that figure is. So we see a trend whether the councils are acquiring more cash or we're spending more than we did last. Just give us a bit of a trend. That's all.
I think there'll be some caveats with that because we obviously spend different things at different.
I know, yeah,
year
I understand.
projects. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Yeah, be interesting. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Any other okay with that one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All in favour? Okay.
Yep.
44B, to receive an update on receipts and payments to date attached. As you can see, that's a lot. Ins and outs. You want me to go through those or
Line by line.
no, saying when I go, do you want me to any particular section you want me to
Move it.
or just move it?
Seconded.
Would you be in favour of that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Have a look.
Right, 44C, to receive a verbal update on the publication of Unity Bank, which I know is well underway. Chief Officer,
It is.
please.
So we've just got two councillors whose information we need in order to complete the verification check. So thank you very much to all those who were chosen at random, it seems, and asked to bring their information in. So as I say, just two councillors remaining. And then as far as we know, that's certainly this stage of the application complete and we can move towards getting that set up, which will be marvellous.
Same names.
You know, they are.
It's in me because you haven't asked me.
It isn't you.
Is it?
It's in me because you haven't asked me.
Oh, what about him at the side?
To mine.
All right.
Come on.
Anyway, thank you for that.
Thank you.
44E. To approve the internal control report completed by Councillor Hawley. I'd like to thank Councillor Hawley for this in-depth report. And if there's any questions on that, I'd like to bring Councillor Hawley and to answer those questions, please. Please put that together. Mr. Mayor.
The only question I've got really is review of effectiveness, that column there, where it refers to Dave by name and also Councillor Chris Perky. So it would suggest to me that Chris has got to be replaced because he's no longer a councillor. Am I correct?
Yep.
So are we tonight going to appoint another person?
I think it has to be done at town council.
Or can we nominate from here if necessary?
You can nominate, yeah, I mean,
Because what I'm personally like to see,
it was actually, just to update it, basically, that when I was appointed this time, it was actually deferred, the second one.
Was till after the co-op.
Yeah.
Co-option.
right,
So potentially that could come up at the next town council meeting to
Yeah.
nominate somebody.
the only reason I'm personally bringing this up is that I would like to see, yes, we've got Dave, but I would like to see somebody from the opposition for the time being elected as you run it, so that would be a political balance. That's what I'm suggesting.
I think that this post is not a matter of political balance, it's about competency.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what's really matters, and it needs somebody with some sort of a financial background or with the ability. To me, it's not about political balance, but you had a chance to get that, but you turned it.
I must admit, the person that I have actually mentioned it to is Councillor Eardley, because he has got
Very, very knowledgeable on
financial background.
financial backgrounds.
Is he on this? Well, it
Doesn't have to be on this
matter.
But I mean, as I say, it needs to be formally done. I think I would suggest at the council meeting.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So-
Fair enough,
Back to the next agenda.
We'll put that next to the full council agenda. I'm not saying it will be Councillor Eardley, but he does have the qualifications to do so. That will be discussed at next full council. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, I think the other thing that sort of comes from this, and was actually my general comments and recommendations, is that it's something that, a question that I've asked while I've been doing this, is to actually sort of say the definition of what the role is. And I've never, in all the years I've been doing it, actually anybody's formally sort of said, well, this is what exactly you should do. Now, my sort of view is I've been doing it long enough, and I would like to stand down next time. And I think what we need to do is actually look at the role of the monitoring council and actually get a job description and what it entails and what, because at the moment, everybody sort of just seems to think it looks at the finances. And I think there's more to it than actually looking at just the financial side. And I think we need to actually sit down, probably myself there and anybody else who's thrown in, and actually come up with a job spec of what the monitoring councillor should do.
Could I ask the chair, has Nalk got any sort of information on what the job entails?
Not that I've seen. We've sort of created this position and evolved it in line with financial regs and good practice. And we've been looking at that. Mark's been looking at this in more detail since we had the meeting, because we've thought about the other areas that perhaps this role could scrutinise as well. So obviously the priority is the financial side of things. That's where the role started, but we've talked about, whether somebody could audit the website, and to give a list of things that you should see on our website and to kind of periodically check that, and that sort of thing. But in terms of whether there's a defined job spec, there isn't at the moment, but it's certainly something we can create.
I think a job spec is probably not quite the right thing. I think it's basically a description of what's required and the things that the monitoring council should look at and be potentially responsible for. I mean, one of the things I've tried to do when I've done it is actually, if in committee or in the council meetings, things have people have been going against standing orders or anything like that, then I've sort of stuck my hand up and sort of said, no, we shouldn't do that. And that's the type of thing as well that they should actually be responsible for. It's not just I think is the way people look at it. Oh, it must be somebody who's got a financial background. And one of the things that we have said is because that is the way the majority of the work goes, is you're sort of doing a semi-audit. But there is more to it, I think, than just actually looking at the finances. And I think that's something we need to take forward so that we can get sorted out for next year anyway.
Okay, so we'll get you a sidekick and we'll go down this job description. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor
Yeah, I
Jackson.
was going to suggest that if Sarah can pull it together, job description is perhaps the wrong word for it.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah. But some idea of what the job entails and perhaps send that out with the papers, the next town council meeting, so then everybody knows what the job is. You know, might be people with hidden talents that we don't know about.
Mm. Okay.
Yes, has anybody else got any other questions?
Any other queries on that report?
You know,
Didn't even know you did it.
Obviously,
Page 2, isn't it, with part of this, is it? The one overleaf. Because you've got page 1 and then you go overleaf and you've got a page 2. Is that part of it?
Yeah.
To do with the high streets, etc.
yeah, you got page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7.
Wait, page 2 is basically that, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, so I've got a question. Different thing.
Yeah, carry on.
But I'll have to get to grips with it for myself. Oh, yeah, it mentions here that traffic approaching from the north of the High Street, etc. So you're looking at stopping that when there's this evacuation or wherever it is. But surely that also applies to the bus service that are coming out Wharf Road as well. That'd be right.
I think that's what we agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it was.
There's no mention of Wharf.
It says what?
As well.
Where?
Second to last line.
The fire street through Wharf Road
Yeah.
have to be stopped.
It's not specific about
Yeah,
buses,
right.
though, is it? Perhaps that's it.
It's all traffic, isn't it?
It's all, I mean, it's a basic store traffic.
Yeah, and Wharf Road, right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what
I
it was,
missed that bit.
they had a fire drill while I was here, and when I went outside, I sort of watched this, and I thought,
Mm.
well, if it was a proper one, it should be absolute chaos. Because, I mean, basically, everybody got out of the building in time, there's no problem with that. It was just a case of when we were out there, if it had been a case of proper, proper fire, and fire engines comes, you've got taxis parked there, you know, cars whizzing up and down and what have you, and I thought somehow or other, you've got to be, something's got to be done to stop the traffic. So that basically people can get in easy. You know?
All right, Dave. Well.
Sarah throws herself in front of any vehicle that's coming. That's quite obvious.
Councillor Jones.
You would find, David, that in a real scenario, the fire brigade would deal with that. In short order.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
there's anything.
I think one of the things, the way I was looking at it, John, was basically all the taxis and things parked there, the fire, you couldn't get anywhere near.
Oh, they shift them.
Oh, they
and if
could
there was
get-
nobody in them,
if
they'd
you
shove them out of the way.
shift them before they get in. you know.
Yeah, I can't see it being an issue.
Yeah.
But
You know what the nearest fire hydrant is, just out of curiosity.
Nearest fire hydrant, just asking where's the
Mm.
I know the brigade should know, but
there is what? Fire hydrant. Down to the fire service, isn't it? I don't know where it is myself.
yes and no, I wouldn't want to see a car parked on it. There you go. It's down to the fire service.
it's an H on it somewhere.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the thinking behind this car's being moved off the car park. But if the back end of that building's on fire,
No, I'm not on about the car, I was
Oh, that-
on the front.
the front, not ours, right, okay.
It was basically the taxis that were out the front here, the cars were all parked along the front there. And if you'd been the case of the fire engine coming up this way, there's no way you'd have got anywhere to park.
I thought we were talking about our.
That might be an issue as well.
If I may, Dave, I mean, I believe now the snorkel, or the Simon snorkel, whatever they call them these days, just 3 pieces. Whether that could reach from there to here, maybe. But they'd have to park in the back if the fire's in the back. Quite right, you're on the slope there, the vehicles in there.
I don't think it's relevant to the report really, but I think, you know, perhaps if I had a word with the fire service at some time, just in case.
I think what it was, Ken, as I saw that, I thought, better say something. It's obviously, there's a lot more involved in that, and it's obviously brought into discussion. So I think you might need to look at that as a separate item.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
I don't think you're right, flat in terms of everything. Opinion.
If we
Thank you very much.
One's out.
Everybody okay with the,
Yeah.
other?
Yes.
Move to 7?
Yes.
Yeah. I need a proposal and a seconder for that, please.
Second.
Seconded, councillor Jones. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Mr. Councillor Hawley, for that report. Moving on, approve the external audit report and recommendations, which I'm sure is another good report.
So you've had this by email. I knew it was due because the external audit has to be signed off by Mazars by the 30th of September. So I knew we'd have it before today's meeting and it came the day after. So I've got some paper copies if anyone wants a paper version of that. There isn't a lot to tell you, to be honest. So the AGAR, which is the document that we went through earlier in the year, has the back page, the section 3 bit, which is the external auditor's report. And there are no other matters that have come to the attention giving cause for concern. So there's 2 not applicables in the other boxes, and very pleased with that. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
AGAR stand for?
Annual governance and accountability return.
We'll catch you next time.
Shouldn't have asked, should I?
There's not a lot goes into it, considering it's only a 6-page report. By the time everybody's had their say at different stages of it, it follows us around for a while. So we have got a letter, and as I say, you've had this by email, again, some paper copies there, and they always have to find something that we must do better for next time. The 2 things that they'd like us to do differently is when the town council approved the AGAR, there was then a delay before I advertised that public rights had started. And that was because I got all of our paperwork ready for the audit before I publicised all of it. And they're saying we shouldn't have a period of time between your approval and publishing your approval, albeit I published that before the statutory deadline. So that's fine. I'll take that into consideration. And they also want us to write our minutes in a slightly different way as regards how we discuss me presenting our external audit team. So you'll find a very comprehensive, detailed analysis of this conversation in this year's minutes.
Thank you, councillor Jones.
Just quickly, and if I'm being thick, forgive me, because I'm doing it for me. The reception is open, sorry, 9 till 1 and 2 till.
That's the next item, sorry, that one is.
Oh, is it? Sorry?
Yeah, sorry.
I do apologise.
This is one that's going to be tabled tonight, yeah. Yeah, no, where are you going?
Really?
We're on 44E at the moment.
Oh, right, sorry.
Okay.
Over that. Oh,
Councillor Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, can I just ask a question, Sarah? How much was the fee note for this audit?
This is something that we can't negotiate.
That's not.
I think did I think the whole lot, please? I think it says invoice to follow.
Yours is 47.
Sorry, yeah, I do apologise.
Can't remember what it was from memory. Give me a minute, I'll go through last year's accounts and have a look and see. It's several £100.
But you've no control over it anyway.
No, we have to
No.
restore that.
No. Does somebody actually come to the building?
So there's 3 levels of audit. So there's the work that Dave does for internal control.
Yeah.
Then we have an internal auditor. She comes here.
Yeah,
So then she signs a page of the AGAR.
yeah.
And then the whole thing then, after we talked about those assertions that the council must say that it does this and does that. We sign a couple of pages of the AGAR and then the whole thing goes off to the external audit. And the only thing they've asked me for this time is a further breakdown of a couple of the sets of figures, which was easy work.
When you talk about an internal auditor, is that one of the council officers?
No, we have to have a qualified bod who does that.
Right.
So that's her job.
So I presume she sends her fee note as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
One thing that we need to say is that basically we're getting our accounts audited properly every year. It's a bit more than Staffordshire County Council do.
It's a bit more than the EU does, am I right?
Okay,
without.
just searching for you.
You can carry on talking, I can tell you in a minute if you want.
Any other queries on that report? All in favour?
Ready.
Yeah,
You need a proposer in a second.
okay, then make opposed. That will be cancelled. Yates,
Can Councillor Yates second something because he's not a member of the committee?
I haven't been to the committee, is
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I apologise.
yeah, every committee.
I can't tell you, we should read stand.
I was on earth.
Anyway,
It's Team of Christmas, I'll tell you.
Something in the air over this side of
moving on, number 45. Confirm that Middle Town Council will support the 30th anniversary of the reforming of the Middle branch of the British Legion. Now, there's a couple of ways that we could go down this line, really. We think it's going to be not a big costing, somewhere between £100 and £150 to support them on the day, the 30th anniversary. Now, we can either dip into our funds, or the other option that we've considered is the town councillors or the councillors chip in some of their council money, grant money, and help out that way. So, thoughts on that, please? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Just pay the £100, £150 debt. Simple as that. Instead of messing about with 30 quid for each one.
Just putting the options forward to you, Councillor Yates.
Yes, I agree with the mayor. If it's going to be an equitable dipping, the administration costs at Staffordshire Moorlands to effectively administer a very small quantity of money would far outweigh us just dipping in, honestly.
Councillor Hart?
I agree with Nigel. And with the mayor, I think we just put the 150 quid on one side and we work it through.
Okay, Councillor Holdsworth?
What exactly is the support we pay for?
It's the refreshments, basically.
Right, fine.
Yeah.
I think, if I may, the problem that they have with British Legion funds, and I don't quite know how it's set up, but any funds that they've got can pay for things like room hire and things like that. So they're paying for the room. I don't know if they're paying or being gifted the room at the Victoria Centre, but they can't use British Legion funds for paying for refreshments and printing.
correct.
That's why they're asking us for money. So,
Well, no, they haven't asked.
Okay,
It felt appropriate for us to help celebrate that.
So it's £150 just to feed John, is it?
There's a lot.
That's in, am I here?
There's a lot of things.
so propose and a seconder, please, that we pay through town council money. Councillor Hart, seconded.
You seconded it?
I'll put
Nigel seconded.
Nigel, right. Nigel.
Seconded, it's made the decision.
Okay. Thank you. 46. Consider the future maintenance of the mayoral chain. Item referred from town council. Now this, before, when it come to us originally, it sounded quite a straightforward, I'm not sure what you call it, the conveys that you put the chain onto, that to be fastened to stop current mayors and possibly future mayors' suits getting damaged. And on principle, we said, oh yeah, we can sort that out. Looking at it, it's a bigger issue than we first thought, and a more expensive issue than we first thought. There's some work coming around. Councillor Jones, you'd like to speak on this?
Yeah, I don't know what the feeling in the room is about this, but I am very reluctant to go down the route of having one of these collar things, because I think the chain's too big. It's far too big to put on something like that. I sympathise with the Councillor Harper's issues that he's had with it. I only wore the modified chain for a short while because it was COVID year and I didn't do that many events. The chain as it was previously, I don't think there were any real issues with that, and Councillor Harper wore it previously, and I think there are no real issues with that. I think the problems have occurred because of the extra swag that's been put on it, and it puts a lot of weight on the front. And looking at the photographs that I've got of me wearing it, and I'm quite a big chap. It fills my chest, and the same, it's really swag. I personally think that was a mistake. The swag should have gone on the back rather than the front. The balance it up. All the weight now is at the front. So I think we need to get somebody to review the design of the thing first. The other thing I would say is we can't, the thing's been going since what, 1933, something like that. Just keep adding shields and adding shields and adding shields, because it's just not going to work, is it? That said, I think Councillor Garvey mentioned it at the full council. What I don't want to see is the splendour of the thing diminished in any way, because it is quite a spectacular chain. It is literally the envy of the county everywhere you go, and you'll know, Councillor Rogers.
Oh, yeah, I was proud to wear it, and people.
So I don't want to see it split down to a single chain with a dongle on it, and we keep the other one in the cupboard. I'd rather it went back to two swags, how it was originally, and we put, perhaps we have a 21st century chain and we have a 20th century chain, and the 20th century chain is kept in a cupboard or in a display cabinet safely somewhere, and we have the 21st century chain with the two swags round as it was before. Because I think that design as it was perfectly practical, perfectly practical. It's only been a problem since it had that extra weight put on the front of it. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got a couple of other speakers, Councillor Yates and then Hart.
Yes, I think Councillor Jones made some very valid points there, and you know, and principally I support what he's saying. What I think personally is that every year we're going to be putting another link on, and ultimately we've got to come to the stage where we make a decision that is one link too many. I see it like tiptoeing up to the edge of the cliff. You can tiptoe for a long time, eventually you fall off, so to speak. The weight of the chain is actually stretching the links. And it's that stretching the links which exposes the ends, which causes the plunking, which is an alarm bell ringing that the chain is heavy. Now, my personal view is, and obviously I have a slight potential future vested interest in this, is that there comes a time where you have to say, you know, what is the ideal size, what is the range and flexibility within that, and then retire the balance. Now, I support that. Now, it's what you do with the retired pieces. It's not so much retiring the balance which is the issue, because I think that's a decision we have to make sometime. And I think now, as obviously it's been precipitated, now's the right time to do. It's what we do with that balance. There's an element of saying, do we have a case and put that balance, say, pre the year 2000 or pre the year 1990 or whatever in a case, or alternatively, do we reorganize the way that the photographs are taken and we put each individual shield, so to speak, incorporated into the picture, so you've got a record of the year and the person like that. And to me, that's the only debate. I don't think there should be any debate about, you know, reining back on the chain, so to speak. It can be splendid without being cumbersome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Hart.
Yeah, I agree with both speakers here. I think it should be investigated. My inclination is that we have a 21st century chain and a 20th century chain. The 20th century chain should go into a case and be preserved as such, renovated to a point where it will have some longevity. And the 20th century chain needs to be a little bit less cumbersome, but not lose its gravitas, which it has. It is what people have said, former chains, it is the envy of Staffordshire and further on. Let's keep that gravitas with a 21st century chain and put the other in a container, in a case that can't be easily broken into.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Harpers, Jackson, Holsworth and Jones waiting, and then I think we'll try to stop it at that one. Councillor Harper, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think following what John was saying about this swag, I think if we had the swag at the back, it would balance the chain. Because as it stands now, if you lean forward, the boom comes forward. It's a bit of a mess, to say the least. Whereas if you balanced it by having that swag on the back, I think that would sit a lot better and you wouldn't have the hassle that most certainly I'm experiencing now.
Okay.
So it's just the swag on the back for me.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, well, if it's I didn't know it was 1933, but if that's the case, we're 10 years off a 100-year chain.
Yeah.
I think it's 1933.
If that is the case, we're 10 years off having a piece of history that goes 100 years. So I'm thinking that would be something special in itself. That particular chain has got 100 years of history if we carried on doing what we're doing. I understand the problems with the mayors, that they're doing it, and that perhaps does need some sort of balancing out. But I do think that if we could sort of hang on and keep it as it is more or less for 10 years, so it's actually 100 years, and then that can go. I mean, the past queen and the now king doesn't wear the crown every day of the week, do they? I mean, and even on special occasions, it's probably, once every millennium or something that equipment's actually brought out. But it is something that even future mayors, after the 10-year period, could have the photograph taken with the old chain with all that history attached to it, for mayors in the future. I just think that to miss out on a piece of something that's going to be 100 years for the sake of 10 years, perhaps needs a bit of thinking about.
Thank you. Just before I bring Councillor Holsworth in, are there any blanks on there at the moment, or are they all engraved?
I think there are some blanks, aren't there?
That was going to be my question, are there 10 blanks?
I don't know. I was going to say how many blanks. I think there is a few. I don't know how many. Anyway, Councillor Holsworth.
What damage does it do?
Ripping the current mayor's shot at the moment, all the weight on the front.
When it goes forward, it tugs on the pin and it rips the material.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Sits
Just
on the dog.
just stitch it to a coat every year.
Okay.
Then you can't put it on, mate, because I've tried different ways of putting it on, I'll tell you that. I've had it stuck on the jacket and I've sort of rolled this out. It's
Anyway.
it's between the imagination. Yeah.
Well, have a cloak.
2 years.
There's what's coming on there. The answer your question. On the first year.
Well, I was going to ask, have we got 10 spaces? That's the first thing. I mean, if we do nothing else, we need to move that swag onto the back.
Yeah.
If we do nothing else, we need to do that. And that's the cheapest option. And then let the mayor see how he gets on with it. Because, and I'm a bit reluctant to spend a lot of money on, it's public money, don't let's forget, on a completely new chair. I think I'd rather, if we're going to go down the road of having the older shields preserved in a case, having said have an old chain, maybe not have an old chain, but something along the lines of what Councillor Yates has said, and have, a nice black pad or something in a case where the chains, the shields could be retired and new blanks put in for the 20th century, but we keep the chain, the essence of it. So they're all ideas. I think we should consult with the chaps that look after it and make it, and take some advice from them. But I certainly, if we do nothing else, I know, as I say, I only wore it a bit in 2020, and it's massively heavy on the front. I've just been showing Alan a picture of me in it, and it fills your chest. And when you're a big bloke like us, if you got if there's somebody with a great respect, Sylvia struggled with it, really struggled with it. Anybody that's
Didn't know as much as Ken.
no, she didn't, did she? Just got on with it, didn't she? It is a massive thing for anybody that's not, got shoulders like an armchair to wear.
All right. Anyway, thank you. I'm going to bring Councillor Lawson in because he hasn't spoke on this. And then I'll make a decision.
Lawton, not
Lawson, sorry. Lawton.
You're thinking about your mate.
I've got so many names going around my head.
Thank you. Now, this is a point where I might actually be talking rubbish, but it's a genuine personal concern because mention was made of the age of the chain, 1933.
I don't know.
No, I know. The think bit got me thinking too, and it was this. And I'm going back to having been born and seeing my fair share of civic processions go past on Armistice Day. And the thing that always struck me, and I'm speaking here from the mid-50s onwards, the thing that always struck me was that Biddle's chairman, because it was known as Chairman's Sunday, I seem to remember in those days, had got a very modest regalia of basically a blue ribbon with a pendant, a blue ribbon with a pendant. And it always looked a bit poor compared with some of the visiting mayors. And it always struck me very much then. So all I'm asking is this chain really from 1933? Or in which case, why wasn't it worn on that occasion or those occasions by the chairman of the day? And that's why I'm simply questioning the age of the chain. I'm not saying it is wrong. It's based upon my clear recollection that I just raised it as a caveat.
I don't know why it wasn't worn then, and maybe I don't know. Councillor Jones is correct within a year. I think it is 33. We might be 1 year out, but it's definitely
It may well be, Chair, that the chain didn't materialise until later.
Yeah.
Certainly the shields date back to 1933. That may be that they put 20 dates on it when they made it.
Yes,
I would, and I think the dongle certainly is of that vintage. Because you're right, I've seen photographs in old bill books where the mayor only got a very sparse chain, but that's thing dongle.
Yeah.
So I think we can say that we're going to get some specialist advice on this and redesign, well, not redesign the chain, but alter the chain to put weight on the back. This idea of spending £700, I don't think is practical. If it was a one-off payment and that's the end of it, possible, but it isn't. It's an annual payment, that is, to change it every year. It's going to get very expensive. So we are in favour. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Just a question. I know where you're coming from about the expense, etc. But, you know, when I do go to these functions, I would say 9 out of 10 of the mayors have got this velvet thing that these things are pinned onto. So if they're that impractical, which is unexpensive, that you're suggesting, then why are they wearing them?
I don't know, but we're going to take advice off Scallons who've just made that from day one, haven't we?
Pass a comment there, but I won't.
Sorry?
So I could pass a comment there, but I won't.
Well, they know the chain better than anybody. They've maintained it from, I don't know about day one, but an awful long time, haven't they? An awful long time. I think it's only fair that we ask their advice and see if we can put more weight on the back. So it basically balances. If you hold all the hoops that go on your collar, on your shoulders, so the chain is in balance. I don't think you'll have the issues that you're getting now. The point that Councillor Jackson's making is very valid. We have got a few blanks. Don't ask me how many. I think there's a few blanks. I think we can get 10 out of it. And that's 100 years. I don't think anybody would be in this council by then anyway, probably moved on. And it'll be 100 years. Aim for that.
Yeah, for me, Chair. So I've shut up after this. And the other problem, you've got the bars that we pin on.
Yeah.
That's when the weight is on the bars and that's when the ripping is occurring.
Yeah, maybe.
So you've got to get back.
In 2008, when I wore it, I never had damage done to my suit. I know there's several gone on it since then, 14 or whatever. But in 2008, I never had a damage on my suit.
I've got to use suit.
That's a Hawley.
What seems to there's several options that have been sort of come up during the discussion, and I'm sort of wondering whether the best thing to do is to get Sarah to look at these options and then find out what the costs are going to be doing them, and then come back and decide which is basically the best way forward. I mean, there's obviously one way of rebalancing the thing. There's another one. Where do we have a sort of a 20th century one and a 21st century one, and all the, so if we look at the options and see what the costs are going to be, and then sort of make a decision on the way forward.
Yeah, I mean, I've got electric cable ready to do it right now.
Well, we'll get on to ASAP. I said we're going to stop this, but Councillor Holsworth and Jones are the last two speakers, then we're going to move on.
Just a thought, if it's so good and you're going to rebalance it, why not do something where you can reinforce the chain around the shoulder area and leave the rest?
These are options that we're going to look into. Options we're going to look into. Yeah, Councillor Jones, yeah.
I was going to say that the stepwise approach for me would be how much is put the swag on the back. That's the first thing. Balance it up, and maybe have something like the stuff that those collars are made out of. Maybe one of those can be put just on the shoulder area. So if you have one for the whole chain, it's going to be this wide. It's going to be like a bib.
Oh, it's a big.
You say you do see other chains with them, but they're nothing like the size of that one.
We're going to
Yeah, like a left left, yeah.
So
let's let Sarah do some digging.
Yeah, so we're all in favour that we're going to make inquiries ASAP to get the chain repaired and hung better than it is at the moment.
Yeah.
We're all in favour with that.
Got to get the best bankable, can't we?
Yeah. Just stick some lights on.
I was thinking that, Chair. Let there be light. There is.
Moving on to number 47. Set of monitoring information for Biddulph Town Hall reception services, August data attached. Now, I'd like to thank all the staff for putting this together. The ladies on the front desk take the information and passed up to ladies upstairs. Margaret and mention names because I always miss somebody out.
It's
And
just Margaret.
just Margaret on this one, just Marg on this one. Okay, that's I've always looked to mention one and not offend another one. But this information that you can see in front of you is the amount of people who come through that front door. And I'll pass you on to the chief officer actually, because you can see the spike there. It's quite intriguing why the spike is there. Chief officer, please.
Thank you. So we've got quite a comprehensive spreadsheet actually with lots of drop-down boxes as regards the types of queries that we get from people who come into the town hall. You'll see there on the first page, total queries, the range of queries that we do have into the town hall. And year on year, the number of people who set foot in this building is increasing. So that's on the second page. So the blue bar on that document are last year. Oh no, yes, that's right. Blue bars are last year, orange bars are this year. The only month where the blue bar was greater than the orange bar was a spike in May 2022 when the £150 council tax rebate came in and hundreds of letters went out to members of the community who all came into the town hall. That was very much a one-off as regards that. We are, as you can see there, over 4,000 people came into this building in 22-23. So far, we're almost on after 5 months, nearly 2,000 people. So there's a lot of footfall through reception and constantly using this information to review the hours that we're open, the types of advice that we're giving people as regards whether anyone needs any whether anyone needs any additional training or anything like that. So it's a learning tool for us, and this goes out to us every month. Mark does this for us every month. But I did think it would be useful for you to see it as well, just to kind of take a view on the type of service that we're offering, numbers, that kind of thing.
Thank you. And it says amazing. You don't realise what happens on that front desk until you see this. Councillor Jones and then Jackson.
Yeah, very good question. You may recall. The opening hours in what are they? 9 till 2 and 2. 9 till 1 and 2 till 4.
Yeah.
And you've got demand shown in the first between 8 and 9 and between 1 and 2. And I just wondered how that was assessed. On your demand.
Oh, I see on demand.
Demand by time.
That's basically people who've come in outside of those hours that we've still done something with.
You've still dealt with them.
Yeah.
Good on you.
If somebody's standing outside and we're 5 to 9, we don't just leave them there till 9. We we fetch them in and deal with them.
Oh, perhaps shouldn't have said that. I predict that demand may go up. And
If they're not there, they want them on the camera. That's the monitors on the camera. The front desk, aren't they?
Don't do that. If we're standing at reception or one of us is around and, or perhaps, if they're dealing with somebody at 1 o'clock, but there's somebody else there, they don't just shut the doors and say, that's it, it's lunchtime. They'll sort them out.
So there's lots of places where they just go, we're closed.
Yeah, no,
Does this include all the hassle you get from councillors as well, or is it's independent of all?
councillors is
That's another sheet.
It's councillor line here.
All right, Councillor Jackson.
The demand by day lines, are those added up over a period of time, or is that a snapshot of a particular week? Or
That's this month. So you're looking at August 2023 data.
right, so we're looking at over 300 people a month
339.
Yes, I've got 330, but rough figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that shows, but I think what's really important here is that obviously the district council pay the percentage of our staff time.
Yeah.
In there, and the county do as well.
County don't.
This is my point then, because if you look at a lot of these things, a lot of these are county facilities, county inquiries.
Yeah.
Can we perhaps do it, not, sorry, drop a bit of, but no, but what I'm thinking is we could perhaps make a case to the county and say, oh, we are actually doing so much of your work here. How's about some sort of financial, I know this county's in a bit of a financial difficulty at the minute, but we are providing a service for the county council and they are getting it for free. Blue badges, that's a county council. You can go down, council tax, that would be our little bit, the district's little bit, or the county's big bit. Yeah, there's a whole host of them things. You could say there's really a county function that we should perhaps have a word with them about.
Okay.
I'm not saying we'll get the money, but I think it's worth asking the question.
You're looking the other way.
That's for raising that point.
Thank you. Yes.
Posting, no charge.
My point, as it so happens, to some extent dovetails with Councillor Jackson, except it's a slightly different aspect. I looked there and thought, I suspected anyway, that a lot of the enquiries are concerned with organisations and other councils, not specifically Biddulph Town Council. Now, some years ago, the concept was marketed in Biddulph, wasn't it not, as Councils Connect.
I came up with the name.
Yeah. Now, I think in Biddulph and in many other places for that matter, there is major misunderstanding amongst the general public about the respective roles of the three levels of council. And that exists anyway. I wondered whether, in some way, in marketing the facility, the inquiry desk here, in some ways, you could help to get the message across. There are these levels, and we are actually a focal point serving you to advice on their behalf. And it would just in its own little way help perhaps clarify the minds of some people.
There's a big banner downstairs that says that, doesn't it? All the town council functions and whatever.
It's a big banner, is it?
It's quite, yes, quite.
Quite tall.
It's taller than me anyway, so it doesn't be that big.
That's what I thought. I thought, I think there's a wider education need in general to make the public better aware than they are about this. But I thought this is just perhaps could form one part of that.
Thank you, Chief Officer.
I think on a case-by-case basis, the team downstairs will do that. So if somebody presents with a highways issue, I'm sure that they'll say, that's a county council function, but we can log it on your behalf. Or if it's a council tax issue, they'll say, your council tax is administered by the district council, but we can do that on your behalf. I'm sure that conversation will go ahead, but you're absolutely right. People don't know. I was sure you were going to ask me about what the other ones were.
What other ones?
All of the questions I anticipated you'd ask. They're along the bottom.
Yeah, others. Others
Others
off the scale. Others is off the scale, but nobody's mentioned it.
Oh, you're reading on a Tuesday.
That's because it's not in a box, that's what.
Somebody wanted to, do you want me to tell you? Somebody
That's
wanted
really
to know where to get a TV adapter from. Somebody wanted to know the location and postcode of the River Trent. Somebody was leaving a parcel
Whoa.
with volunteer groups.
Postcode of the River Trent.
Yes.
Which bit?
Also,
We're not
Probably, I would have thought.
in the spreadsheet. Somebody wanted us to check he completed his passport application correctly. Somebody else wanted a list of local gas engineers. Somebody wanted to know if there was a fun fair at Hanley Forest Park, if the library had computers. Somebody wanted contact numbers for the district council, Old Hall and the library. Somebody else wanted to know where Wetherspoons was. Somebody wanted to explain his electricity bill.
Have to be left where the spots.
Lastly, somebody wanted a glass of water.
Get him out, find my way back.
So we've helped all of those people, but unfortunately they don't really fit in one of our boxes. This is why the other scales.
Thank you for explaining the others.
Oh,
Yeah, the
you're
whole
ready
bit.
to ask.
I was just thinking though, if anybody comes into the town council and wants some information, they don't really care who's responsible for it. They just want the information.
It's just the council.
Yeah.
Something else. It's the council.
And you don't want to be told, oh, we don't deal with that. Sorry, you'll have to go 30 miles down the road to Leek. And they just want it dealt with, don't they? And that's what the team does.
Oh. Councillor
I
Jackson.
was just thinking Jasper Carrot once made a living out of regurgitating insurance claim things, didn't he? Perhaps all them things want saving, collate them for a few years. There might be some money in a.
What's the chap who asked about Wetherspoons accompanied there? So we can get that.
Well, it's an intriguing report. I think we should have it again if we can in the future, please. Thanks for putting that together. It's quite an in-depth thing to, it's late really, isn't it?
We, as I say, Mark does it for us on a monthly basis, so we can work out
That's just done anyway.
what we're looking at as a, whether we need additional training or work like that. I don't propose to bring it to you monthly, but I think we've bought this annually previously. I'm happy to bring it to you as often as you want, but
Councillor Jackson's right though, Mog, you should start writing down the others because there's a book in that.
All right.
Put it on council website.
Thank you very much to all of us in that report together. It's very interesting. Thanks.
No.
Right. Moving on to number 48. Now, I'll go through these quite quickly. You understand why. Approve received child and vulnerable adult protection policy. Just zipping through it, page 1, page 2, it's the reds that we're looking for, which is very few of this time. 3, 4, 5.
Just a date on that one, Chair, isn't
Do that one, check.
Seconded. Just making sure there's nothing on that one. Moved by councillor Jackson, seconded councillor
Policy that's got to change.
Very,
Yeah.
very likely,
we haven't had to do.
second policy. Disciplinary and grievance policy.
You're wrong.
Moving on again, it's just the dates which have been changed in red. The rest, I'm sure you've all read at home, we're not going to go through it now. Moved by councillor Hart, seconded by
Councillor Jackson.
councillor Jackson, so all in favour? Thank you. C, flexible working hours policy,
Nothing wrong with that.
then again, the dates. Not to zip through it, smaller one. Moved, seconded, all in favour? Thank you. Approve the review general privacy notice for staff,
Wrong with that.
Again, it's just a date.
dates again, dates.
That one,
I
check.
mean, you know, it's big files, but I hope that you do at some point read it, because just to let you know.
Edit.
Or, yeah, I don't know if everybody does, to be quite honest. I mean, everybody should read it, and then after you've once read it once, it's so easy then just to do the alterations.
I just look for the red bits.
You just look at the red bit, so. Moving on. Privacy notice for members of the public. And again, it's. Thank you.
It's just a question.
Yeah,
Will these get audited, Sarah? Is this part of your audit process?
What we're doing now.
Forget what you.
It's not part of the internal control visit, they're looking at policies, but our internal auditor is always very interested, and she reads all of these before she comes here, because these are all published, as you know, on our website.
What website?
okay.
So she reads all of these
Yeah.
and looks at that.
Got a boring life for that.
It's the job, isn't it? I'm not sure what the external auditor does, but certainly our internal auditor signs off the fact that she feels we're
That's good.
constantly run and managed. So
That's good. Okay,
Okay, moving on to partnership protocol, dates again in red.
around with that. What deal to them? You've lost.
I'll be slitting me.
All in favour of that, moving a second.
Second.
Councillor Hart, Jones, all in favour? Aye.
Ooh. Red on this one.
Protection stuff.
Application scheme and guidance. Dates again.
The documents referred to, changed its name on it. Nothing wrong with the policy, Chair.
There's another red one.
Yeah, you got your red one on that one, just,
the policy name change.
policy, okay. You moving that, councillor Jones?
Yes.
Seconded, councillor Hart, all in favour? Yeah. Right,
That is.
moving on. 49.
Yeah, just from on record, I think it's all these policies. Really stand out. And when there comes an issue, you've got a document to go to, we can go through it and that's what we go by. But that really is important to the smooth way. I mean, hopefully nothing comes up, there's no issues, but as long as the policy's there, and it's been approved by the council, it is there for the smooth running of the council. So
Right, yeah.
it's our officers to refer to, but when there are issues, so I think that's put on record. And thank you to everybody that's put these together over many years now. I know.
Yeah.
I think they are important.
Anyway, well said, Ken.
Yeah, you're quite right. I mean, we zip through them because the big policies,
Is that true? Because we know they're right.
because we know it right, yeah, and they are big policies, and we don't tend to appreciate the amount of work, as you say, that's gone into creating these in the first place. Well, thank you.
I'll just pop down.
Thank you. Right, moving on. Falling over myself with paperwork here. 49. To consider disposal of any assets in line with the asset management policy and financial regulations, A.
Can I just, I haven't got anything to bring to you now, but we are in the process of auditing our market equipment, which as I think most of you know is in a shed in Biddulph Park. So we are trying to decide what we need going forward, whether there's anything that we can sell because our needs have changed. We have, for example, got 2 trailers, which was brilliant when we were taking market up and down, but we haven't, there's been no need to do any maintenance on those for a while. It might be that we kind of do those up and sell them and think about a different solution. So just to make you aware that that process is going on. So I'll bring that to our next meeting for your consideration.
Thank you.
The specialists, aren't they? The trains.
Yeah. Thank you for that. 49B, confirm approved suppliers as part of procurement policy. There's coming round, you should have in your hands.
So you've just got some, you've got 6 new ones this time, so to provide you with the reassurance, I suppose that's the best way of putting it, that they have gone through our approved suppliers process, providing information about their risk assessments, method statements, insurances, commitment to health and safety policies, environmental management, etc. So they have gone through those processes. So we are happy to present those 6, in addition to others that you've received previously, to go onto our approved contractors list.
Okay. Councillor Jones.
Just going back, so this isn't the entirety of the approved.
No, that's
Few ones to
Yeah.
go
yeah. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, just under the bottom one, AJ, who's AJ specifically?
Jane Van.
I don't know if
So,
that's their initials.
Yeah, who was it? So I'm saying.
It does all sorts of pest control.
Yeah, but who is it?
I don't know him personally.
just
What have they got
It's
to
an organisation that's the name of the company.
like the AIB Solutions.
Oh, so we don't know what it stands for then, basically.
It's human, its initials, but I don't know whose initials.
Right.
Roland Grant.
Yeah. Yes.
All in favour of these?
I can't rule for it because I don't know that.
Right,
Well, you don't know what GEC stands for, do you, or AEI or GEA?
Body.
Right,
It's local.
Where is in a second, Chair?
all right. Propose of the seconder, please.
I'll propose it.
Propose Jones and Hart, thank you. Thank you.
They're in confidential.
Confidential now.
Close that.
At this point, we shall have to lose the YouTube connection. I'm sorry about that, and we should go into confidential items discussing other items within the town.
We've got one.
Thank you. Goodbye, YouTube.